to the pacing tip of the month. This month I'll finish my series about Dr. Franklin's 3 stages of ME. I'm going to talk about the final stage, the remission stage. In the remission stage, the symptom level is low, which also means that the illness activity in the body is low, and the activity level can be steadily increased. Typically, you can do a bit more every second week or every week, sometimes even every third day. If you have to look back a number of weeks or several months to see a difference, then you're still at the stabilizing stage. The real challenge at the remission stage is to avoid increasing too fast, doing far too much, far too early. It's so easy to think, oh, now I feel better, now I can do lots more. In reality, you're typically feeling better because you're not doing lots more. And even if you've experienced a big sudden improvement in your symptoms, it's still a good idea to increase little by little. That way, you get the chance to assess along the way whether your increases are sustainable or not. If you increase a little by little, after a while, if you can feel yourself having trouble increasing further, you can pull back a little and wait for a while and see how things go. If you increase a lot all in one go, there's a risk that you overrate what you can do and then crash straight back down again. Taking things easy generally significantly increases your chances of holding on to the improvement. And I know that it's difficult to be patient. I mean, no matter how fast it goes, you want it to go faster. But believe me, it really pays to take a deep breath and go slowly. It varies a lot when the improvement stops, because at some point the improvement is going to stop. Sometimes people will be nearly there but not quite, maybe like 90-95%. And my impression is that this is more common than reaching 100% and just never having any relapses. Sometimes if people do reach 98% and remain within their energy limits, they will eventually reach 100%, but not everyone does that. However, life at 90% is by no means bad. Of course, it's not so fun to make sure you don't do too much 2 days running, but pacing is still a lot easier when you're not so ill that you can't eat if you cook the meal first. Sometimes, if the improvement stops long before you reach anything like a normal level of activity, it could be because you've increased a bit too fast. And in that case, lowering activity level somewhat can often restart the improvement. At other times, there may be some kind of complication, maybe food intolerances or something else that you can actually do something about. So checking with your doctor if your improvement stops may be a very good idea. I just realized I forgot to show you the graph. This is a graph which shows illness development at the remission stage. Let's see if I can get this right. Here. As you can see, it's going steadily upwards. And these dots do not represent days, they represent monthly averages. So here, by the way, you can see that the person perhaps increased a bit too fast and had to do a bit less. That's a sort of warning sign. Another interesting point is that not everyone ever experiences the remission stage. You don't always find that the improvement goes that fast. The good news is that you don't need to reach the remission stage in order to experience significant improvement over time. I remember reading about a British young woman who fell ill as a teenager, and she never experienced improvement which was so fast that she could feel it happening. It was always so slow that she couldn't feel it happening, but after 10 years she was still well enough to work full time. So if the improvement is very slow, it doesn't mean you can't get a lot better, it just means it takes longer. And that's actually good news. Now, as I've said in the previous videos, you enhance your chances of reaching the remission stage by stabilizing your activity level at a level which your body can sustain on a daily basis without symptom flare-ups. And then you stay there and allow your body to get a good safety margin and get the symptom level down somewhat. And when you can do a little bit more without worsening your symptoms, then you can increase a little and then a little bit more. And hopefully this will give you significant improvement over time. But the important thing is to remain within your activity limits or energy limits during the improvement process. I know some people have experienced such rapid improvement, it seemed like it was the activity increases that made them better. However, even people who experience that can still get worse if they do too much too early. And those people later sadly experienced relapses when the improvement began to taper off. And they were at a very high level. It seemed healthy, but they couldn't cope with unlimited activity over time. So even if you seem well, it's important to remain within your energy limits. And it's a lot easier to do that if you find a level which you can sustain every day, instead of doing a lot one day and then much less the next. If you're at that level, it could be that what you do on your best days isn't actually achievable in the long term. It's only achievable because you get those days of rest in between. So if you then try to do something consistently, such as studying full time, you may find that you can't do that every day. That's what happened to the people I know. But I also know others who stabilized at a more stable activity level, which they actually could sustain, and then held on to their improvement. So, as I said, finding a level which you can cope with every day without feeling worse is very much the way forward. And it's also a real boon even if you don't experience improvement, because you'll still feel less ill than you would if you pushed yourself hard all the time. So, as usual, this graph came from my book, Classic Pacing for a Better Life with ME. And I'll be back next month with another talk. And I'll see you then. And thanks for listening.